There's something out here, and it doesn't care about reboots.
Something's following us, and it's getting closer.
Whoever's out there, it knew we were.
The return of Anaconda to the big screen is one of the most talked about reimaginings in the world of creature features and survival horror. The original 1997 film became a cult classic, not only for its premise, but for its surprising cast and over-the-top approach to suspense, horror, and jungle survival. Now, with the new Anaconda film in development, anticipation is building around how the franchise will be modernized for a new generation while still preserving the heart-racing tension that made the original so memorable. What sets this upcoming entry apart is not only the legacy it inherits, but also the creative direction it seems to be taking, fusing realistic animal behavior, updated horror techniques, and an environmental narrative that resonates with today's world. This reboot isn't simply a sequel or a remake. It's being crafted as a bold reinvention of the core concept, bringing fresh thematic layers to the storyline while retaining the deadly threat of a giant snake in a treacherous jungle setting. The filmmakers are said to be approaching the story with more sophistication, grounding the horror in a world where climate change and human encroachment have disturbed natural ecosystems, driving species to extreme behaviors. The anaconda in this story is not a monster in the traditional sense, but rather a natural predator reacting to human disruption, making it more terrifying because of its plausibility. The horror is no longer just about survival in the wild. It's about confronting the consequences of human interference in nature's delicate balance. In this new version, the characters aren't merely documentary filmmakers or treasure hunters stumbling into danger. Instead, they represent a variety of motivations and backgrounds that reflect today's world. Biologists studying changes in migration patterns, illegal poachers seeking rare creatures, corporate agents with secret agendas, and local guides, torn between protecting their home and earning a living. This diversity in the cast of characters opens the door to more complex interpersonal dynamics, betrayals, alliances, and emotional stakes. These characters are being written not just as fodder for the snake, but as deeply layered individuals with backstories, values, and fears that add depth to the high-stakes encounters. The setting of the new Anaconda film is reported to be even more treacherous than before. While the original took place in the Amazon rainforest, this new version expands the geographic range to include a vast network of rivers, swamps, and remote villages, possibly set in a fictionalized version of a South American region where several biomes intersect. This gives the cinematography room to play with stunning visuals, from fog-covered jungle canopies to murky, mysterious waters hiding unknown threats. The environment itself becomes a character, just as lethal as the snake, with sudden floods, deadly insects, and harsh terrain amplifying the tension with each scene. One of the biggest evolutions in this upcoming version is the depiction of the anaconda itself. No longer relying on the early CGI and animatronics of the late 90s, the new film combines practical effects with cutting-edge visual technology to create a more lifelike, unpredictable creature. This anaconda isn't just massive, it's cunning, fast and alarmingly silent in its attacks. It stalks its prey with intelligence, using terrain and timing to its advantage. Reports suggest that the filmmakers are working closely with herpetologists and animal behavior experts to ensure the maturity. Creatures' actions are grounded in real-world behavior, making it far more unsettling to watch. This is not a supernatural beast, but an apex predator pushed to extremes, and that realism is expected to heighten the horror in ways audiences haven't seen before. Tension is expected to build gradually through eerie silence, glimpses of scales, through water, the sudden vanishing of characters, and the mounting realization among the group that something enormous is out there, watching, hunting, and learning their patterns. Rather than relying solely on jump scares, the film is said to emphasize dread, pacing its sequences to allow fear to simmer. The screenplay reportedly treats the characters' isolation with gravitas, giving weight to their psychological unraveling, as the jungle and its deadly inhabitant pick them off one by one. The audience will likely be kept on edge not only by the looming presence of the anaconda, but by the growing paranoia among the survivors, each wondering if the snake is the only danger they need to fear. What elevates the excitement even further is the caliber of talent being brought in both in front of and behind the camera. While no casting has been officially confirmed, rumors suggest that several high-profile actors are in discussions, and the director attached to the project is known for a background in suspense thrillers that favor character-driven narratives over cheap thrills. That approach could bring new prestige to a genre often overlooked by critics, but beloved by fans. The reboot aims to appeal not just to longtime followers of the original, but to a wider audience that appreciates atmospheric tension, survival drama, and a strong emotional core. Another intriguing aspect of the film's development is the potential for it to kickstart a new franchise. The producers are reportedly planning the film with a larger universe in mind, one that explores not just the anaconda, but other extreme creatures and the ecosystem imbalances that bring them into conflict with humans. This means that while this movie stands on its own, it could also plant the seeds for future stories that build on the theme of nature's revenge. Whether it's expanding to other dangerous species or revisiting different regions of the world, the new Anaconda movie could become the foundation for a modern creature horror universe grounded in environmental science and psychological depth. Special attention is also being given to the score and sound design, with early reports indicating that the audio landscape will be essential in creating fear and tension. The sounds of the jungle, the subtle movement of water, and the hiss of a predator nearby are all expected to be used strategically to manipulate the viewer's perception and keep the suspense tightly wound. Music will likely be sparse at times, letting natural ambiance drive the anxiety, while key moments will be punctuated with orchestral surges to heighten the intensity of encounters. One of the more subtle yet impactful elements that the film is exploring is the moral ambiguity of its characters. In many creature horror films, the lines between good and evil are clearly drawn. But in this reboot, the human characters are said to be more morally complex. Some are complicit in environmental destruction, others are desperate for redemption, and a few may not survive long enough to reveal their true intentions. This approach brings a layer of realism and tension to the story, as audiences are encouraged to invest in the characters' arcs rather than simply wait to see who dies next. At the heart of it all remains the thrill of survival. The jungle becomes a crucible that tests every character's willpower, courage, and morality. The anaconda, while central, is part of a broader ecosystem that punishes the unprepared, rewards the observant, and has no sympathy for those who underestimate its danger. It's a return to raw, primal storytelling, where technology and bravado offer little protection, and where every decision can mean the difference between life and death. This new Anaconda is being crafted as a cinematic experience that delivers more than scares. It invites the audience to consider our place in the natural world, our impact on ecosystems, and the consequences of trespassing into environments we do not fully understand. It takes the concept of man versus nature and injects it with urgency, relevance, and emotional depth, reminding us that nature is not only beautiful and powerful, but also unforgiving when disrespected.